Net favorability, party ahead at this point. Midterm years with the GOP president. In 2018, Dems were up by 12. In 2006 on net favorability, which party you like more? Dems were ahead by 18. Republicans are actually ahead on net favorability at this point by 5 points. So Democrats are just simply put running behind their previous benchmarks, and they need to be running well ahead of them if they want to take back the United States Senate.
Maybe there's a reason for that. Democrats just can't quit being woke. They are still stuck in 2020 when identity politics ruled everything. And that is not me saying it. Just listen to the words of the Democratic Party leaders.
All this anti-woke stuff is just anti-black. Period, full stop.
Those same do-nothing Democrats want to blame our losses on our defense of black people, of trans kids, of immigrants, instead of their own lack of guts and gumption.
God is both masculine and feminine and everything in between. God is non-binary.
So saith the Lord. Democrats keep saying they want to save America from Donald Trump. In their words, he is an existential threat. This is our last opportunity, they keep telling us, to save the republic. But to stop their would-be monster, Democrats are unwilling to give up or even think about talking about their sacred cows. On the left, boys must still be allowed to play in girls' sports. Trans rights are the fight of our time, just ask J.B. Pritzker. That somehow trumps the threat of Trump. When it comes to giving up identity politics, Democrats would be wise to watch a 2005 film about forbidden love. It was called Brokeback Mountain.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
Then why don't you just let me be, huh?
With us now, Democratic strategist Madeline Summerville, Mark McKinnon, creator and executive producer of the best political show on television called The Circus on Showtime. Good to see you both. Ladies first, Madeline, I guess that's a question. I don't think Democrats know how to quit woke, right?
Well, I think actually the issue is that Democrats keep walking straight into the woke trap, right? Woke was not the primary issue, despite what we've heard for Democrats. Trump made it about that. The reason why people say they're crazy, right? The Democrats are crazy is because of that commercial that he put out where he said Kamala is for they, them, not you, right? He had a larger narrative. What the Democrats need to do to respond to that, they don't have to abandon their positions, except for the ones that are related to science. What they need to do is show the bigger picture, right? Say why you said what you said. Explain it to people, because Democrats forgot the why was important.
I hear you, although I feel like when Democrats have explained the why, they've just dug themselves a deeper hole. For example, this is Zoran Mandami, the mayor of New York, today.
And while today's true cost of living measure confirms that the affordability crisis touches every corner of our city, we know that these effects are not applied evenly. So often, it is black and brown New Yorkers who are hit the hardest. This preliminary racial equity plan is the first step in developing a whole-of-government approach to tackling that reality.
I'm not really sure what he means, Mark, but I can just see the attack ad for any given Republican to attack Democrats writing itself.
Oh, right. You know, Democrats can only hope that Mandami's not representative of the broader people running next year for Democrats. But Democrats are good at clawing their way to the bottom. And it's remarkable, given how unpopular this administration is right now, that people would turn around and say, but we Democrats are worse than, are not a good alternative option. But I will say this, that, you know, if you spend enough time in the desert, you figure out how to find water. And you can pick out some examples of people making, you know, what would be political mistakes strategically. Look back at last year. The Democrats banned very effectively on the message of affordability, took 3 governor seats that they weren't supposed to win. So listen, I think people have gotten the message. There'll be some fringe elements that go back to the poison in the well. But I think, listen, we tend to overcomplicate this, and the reality is that Carville had it right way back when. It's the economy, stupid. Almost always.
Yeah, he's perhaps sort of waywardly shifted since that truism. But if you think about that affordability issue, and I'm glad you brought it up, Mark, because one of the races you're referring to is Abigail Spanberger in Virginia. She ran on affordability. The first day she got into office, the state legislature, or whatever they call it in Virginia, put out a progressive wish list that started with all progressive social topics and had very little to do with affordability other than raising taxes on just about everybody. And Madeline, she now has the lowest rating of any governor in Virginia's history in the 21st century. How do we explain that?
So I actually disagree with y'all. I think that I hope that Mom Donnie is an example for everyone else. I think that he is demonstrating a perfect example of what it means to stand by your convictions. I think that people are nervous about the fact that there are so many wishy-washy Democrats, right? So for example, Mom Donnie said that he was going to deliver childcare. He's been working on that consistently. He's literally out there shoveling snow with people and paying them a living wage to do it, and covering potholes. He's putting his money where his mouth is. That's why he's effective. It didn't necessarily need to be the message of affordability, but it's because he's a good speaker and because he's believed this his whole life. I think that we're making a mistake when I understand the economy is a big issue, but for each individual politician, it has to be what your passion is about. If you're a trial attorney, I'm a jury consultant. If you're a trial attorney and you try to deliver an argument that's not from your heart, you're going to lose because it has to be about you. You can't steal somebody else's message and think that's going to work everywhere.
Yeah, the person probably who's the most authentic member of Congress I know is probably Fetterman of Pennsylvania. Here he is talking about this very issue.
Someone asked me, who's the leader of the Democratic Party? I said, no, that's TDS. That's Trump derangement syndrome. Our party is increasingly defined by the exact opposite of what Trump says.
And now he may be run out of the Democratic Party, Mark. So is it authenticity or is it an activist class that demands some kind of purity test and will do stupid things because they feel good fighting Trump?
Well, listen, I just think that after a period of time, you get tired of losing, and I think that the fundamental message, yes, authenticity helps, but getting back to a core message of affordability, I think is what's key for Democrats. And there's a ton of economic anxiety. Even when Trump talks about the border and talks about immigration, that's fundamentally about economic anxiety that people feel. So if Democrats just stay focused on the economic message, I mean, listen, it's a perfect storm lining up for Democrats. And if they screw this up, they deserve it.
Yeah, but Leland, listen. Leland, this is
Madeline,
a trap.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.